feels good to finally get one. Oh man, wonderful.
Let's go back to the beginning and break this hunt down and see how it all came together. The first thing I'd like to do is thank my buddy Dave. Not only did he help me fix my broken down truck on this trip, but he also pointed me in the direction where I eventually shot my buck. Thanks, Dave. One interesting thing that this hunt pointed out is the fact that you don't need to know the land you're tracking. Nathan Nelson from Stillwater Outdoors called me up and said, "Hey, it's snowing in Minnesota. You want to go tracking?" And I said, "Sure, let's go." So he picked a spot and I met him. Neither one of us had ever hunted this spot before. And then later on a trip, after Nathan went back home, my buddy Dave said, "Hey, why don't you check out this area?" So I went to a new area that I had never been in before either. And the first day there, I shot a 190-pound 9-point buck. I started the morning hunt by driving the back roads looking for a good track to take. Most of the tracks were made the night before while the snow was frozen, so the tracks had crumbly snow in them. But I did find one track that was really fresh and soft, so I knew it was made during the day while the snow had warmed up. This was the track I eventually decided to take. He headed north for about a half a mile and then started kind of zigzagging around a little bit. There were other deer tracks in the area as well, so I'm sure he was checking the tracks to see if there was any hot does in the area. He stopped and pooped at one point. I picked it up and squeezed a pellet of poop to see how soft it was. But it wasn't a real good indicator because it was also warm out that day too, so the poop wasn't going to freeze anyway. But still, it was quite soft, so I felt that he probably wasn't too far away. I didn't go too much further and I ended up kicking him up. He was bedded down underneath a pine tree. He took off and ran to my left, and I got several shots at him, and I actually grazed him somewhere. I don't even know where. I never did find out. I never did determine that. But there was, from that point on in the track, there was a few spots of blood every here and every now and then. Definitely not a fatal shot of any sort, but enough to draw a little blood.
Well, here's his bed. And that's a pretty nice deer. I'll follow up a little bit on the shot, see what happens, but I don't hold much hope.
I like to let the deer settle down after I bump them. In the past, I would stand around for a half hour to an hour and give them a time to relax and get settled back in again. But now I do something a little bit different. I get cold really easy, and I hate to just stand around and do nothing. So what I normally do now is I just really take my time and slowly pick away at the trail, and just kind of moving really slow just to waste time so that I don't get cold by just sitting idle. At at this time I'll maybe eat something while I'm walking or get a little drink or something. But the main thing at this point is just to kind of burn time and keep moving a little bit, keep active, so I don't get too cold. The buck crossed the road about 100 yards in front of my pickup truck and headed south. He headed about another quarter mile before he slowed to a walk. He button hooked off to the right and he bedded down. I caught a break that day because I came onto the scene just at the same time when he decided to get back up and start moving again. So once in a while luck plays in your favor, and in this case it did for me. So I caught the movement and I seen him walking across, and he was about 70 yards out broadside, and I put a good shot into him, and then I missed the next two as he was running away. But as you see in the video, that was all that was necessary. Put him down. Here's some of the things that we can learn from this track. One, you don't have to be familiar with the area to track a deer there. That day was the first day that I had ever seen that area in my life, and I still ended up shooting a 190-pound 9-pointer. Number two, I took a fresh track. All the other tracks I saw that morning were made by deer during the middle of the night, and those tracks had crystally crunchies in them, whereas this track was soft like a cookie cutter. So it was really easy to stay with that buck and to distinguish his track from other tracks. And that's a huge advantage, because the more time you spend looking at the track trying to sort it out, the less time you're looking for the deer. Number three, he started to meander, and that can be an indication that he's going to bed down. It's not always an indication, but sometimes it is. So when you see a deer start to meander, be on red alert and be ready, because there is a chance that he may be bedded nearby, and in this case he was.